hard to take this seriously at this point. Men, absolutely, no matter what they do to their body, have an advantage over women in sport. And it appears that we have a few stragglers that just don't want to accept that this is over at this point as it should be. If you want to make a claim that flies in the face of common sense and everything that we have seen over the past 7 years, so out in the open, plus the mountains of studies and that have been published with good data and good controls in place, you better have some bulletproof science and data. But this study is just an attempt to resurrect the shredded parts of the Titanic and convince us that it didn't sink.
Yeah, and I mean, Matthew, surely even you can't buy the results of this particular study. I mean, we've got so much evidence we can see with our own eyes.
Well, Patrick, great to be with you this evening, and hi to your other guest as well. Well, I think I've got a bit of a job to try and convince you, but I'll do my best. Look, this is a study of a review of more than 50 studies, which has found that after taking hormone therapy for a number of months and a number of years, the physicality of these individuals' bodies, of trans women's bodies, mean that they are able to compete fairly with other women in women's sport. And so, you know, I would strongly urge sports governing bodies to look at this again and to think again, because at the moment, many of their rulings are discriminatory against trans women.
Kim, do you want to come back to that?
Yeah, even the authors acknowledge that the data was poor quality due to study design or measurement problems, and that there was little control invested in confounding factors like just training. So no, this can't be taken seriously. It's an embarrassment that it was published. Shame on the people that let it get through. I know that there will be calls for a retraction, but it's utterly ridiculous. And let's just cut straight to the heart of the matter here. It is just studies like this and all the attempts to talk about medicalizing men and boys in order to allow them access to women's sports. It's straight up misogyny. Women are not medically hindered men. Period. That insult is just the bottom line here. The whole point of this is to see how much harm do we need to do to men's bodies in order to allow them to compete with women. And if you're going to make that argument, you're making the argument that men on chemotherapy should be allowed to compete with women. Men who have suffered terrible illnesses should be allowed to compete with women. You're just opening up the door to say weak, unathletic, or medically hindered men are equivalent to women. And that is just an insult to every woman who has taken decades to maximize her sleep, her eating, her training, to ultimately perform at the peak of female athleticism. We are not stunted or harmed men. And I mean, there's just no greater insult to the women.
Matthew,